Anyway, I mentioned at the top of the program that Mary Mapes and Dan Rather and that whole episode with the forged documents and the phony story about George Bush and the National Guard. There's a movie that has been made that tries to say that Dan Rather got railroaded, that he and Mary Mapes are right on the money, that the story was accurate, and that CBS fell in with big corporate interests, decided it was better to be in bed with the President of the United States and to support their own anchor, i.e. Dan Rather. So they found somebody to go out and make a movie of this, and even CBS has come out and denounced the movie as a bunch of fiction, which it is. But they convinced Robert Redford and Cate Blanchett to star in this thing, which is history revisionism. And it's actually based on Mary Mapes' biography. Mary Mapes fell in with this guy named Bill Burkett, a genuine Looney Tune. Bill Burkett claimed that he had memos, signed memos, and all kinds of paperwork from the commanding officer of the National Guard when Bush was there, claiming that Bush never showed up, that Bush never made an appearance, that Bush didn't fly, did it only to get out of serving in Vietnam. And so Rather and Mapes put this story on 60 Minutes. They ran with it, and it turned out the people at Powerline, the guys over at the Powerline blog, totally exposed the documents as 100% forgeries. And it was a giant investigation. CBS found out about it and summarily canned Dan Rather and Mary Mapes. So Mary Mapes writes her biography about this in an attempt to hold on her reputation. Somehow I end up in this biography 6 times. Minor references. But last Thursday in New York, the New York Times hosted a Times Talk conversation with the actress Cate Blanchett, the actor Robert Redford, Dan Rather, and Mary Mapes to discuss the new movie Truth about this scandal that happened in 2004. Susan Dominus is the moderator. She said, Mary, when you watched the movie starring Cate Blanchett as you, did you immediately know it had to be a lie? No, I made that up, folks. She didn't actually. But if I were Mary Mapes and they had Cate Blanchett play me, I would know they're lying. But anyway, that's just an aside. Here's the real question from Susan Dominus. Mary, when you watched the movie, was there anything that either made you cringe personally, like that was painful to relive that moment? Or obviously there were some very intimate, emotional scenes involving, well, maybe you can talk a little bit about your family life that, Cate portrays in the movie. Like, the scene with your father.
One of the sort of subtexts in the movie is this cascading series of events where everything is just raining down. And every time I turned around or Dan turned around, there was something new and newly hideous happening to us. I have an estranged father, and we had not had contact for many years. But a right-wing radio show got in touch with my father and talked to him about his relationship with me. And then suddenly I'm driving down the road and there's my father on Rush Limbaugh talking about me, about how I always had a radical feminist agenda. You haven't talked to me for 15 years. How do you even know that I haven't? But that was the level of personal attack and personal pain.
I don't know, Mary. Maybe it was a wild guess that you had a radical feminist agenda, given that you do. Well, anyway, she's running all over saying that her dad was on this show. I mean, she's driving around a road listening to Rush Limbaugh, and there's my father on Rush Limbaugh talking about me. We went back. Over the weekend, we went back and we searched the archives. Every word I have ever uttered has been preserved at the archives of rushlimbaugh.com. Not every word searchable yet, because we hold some of it back, obviously. Every word that I have uttered is there. So we began an exhaustive and extensive search. Now, what in the world was she talking about? Because I don't remember her dad being on this show. Do you remember her dad being on this show? 2004? No, he didn't call in. That's not what happened. This is all I ever said about it. And in fact, this was at 1:55 p.m. on September 21st, 2004. The last 20 seconds, last 30 seconds before the break, I'm heading into the top of the hour break, and this is what I said. This is what she claims, driving around, listening on the radio. This is what she heard. All right, that's it for the second hour of the EIB Network. 1 hour to go. We'll get back to the latest of CBS and Dan Rather. Mary Mapes, you hear what her father said about her on the radio yesterday? That she's gone crazy with liberalism and that she got into journalism to advance a radical feminist agenda. Her father's in Seattle, I think 70-some-odd years old. Her stepmother said he shouldn't speak of her that way. We'll be back in just a second. That was it. That was it. So she apparently heard that, but she thinks that her father appeared on the No, I don't want to. I'm not trying to. Her father was on the radio somewhere, which is what I heard about, and I think I know where her father was. Her father was on with John Carlson out in Seattle. I think that's who found her father, is John Carlson, and that would have been. Well, it was 2004. And I heard about that. That's what I was referencing here. But she's driving around listening to the Rush Limbaugh program and imagines hearing her father. You know, these liberals can't take people saying things about them they think are untrue. Now, here's a woman who has engaged in a total fabricated, made-up story about George W. Bush. She and Dan Rather have used and accepted forged documents from a genuinely, questionably all-there figure, a guy named Bill Burkett. And they have no problem doing a phony story containing forged documents, promulgating a lie that George W. Bush never went to the National Guard just to get out of service in Vietnam and never did his required service at the Guard. They've got no problem putting that story out. None whatsoever, lying through their teeth about it. And then let her hear that her father describes her as she about has a cow. These people literally cannot stand. Either they can't stand when people tell the truth about them, and they certainly don't know how to deal with it when people make stuff up about them. But man, oh man, do they know how to lie about people. They were trying to destroy Bush's presidency. They were trying to affect the outcome of the 2004 election. This is September, folks. They're trying to elect John Kerry here. And she's on this New York Times show last Thursday, whining and moaning about something that her dad said on this program, about her being some radical feminist. She can't even take it. Has to whine and moan and complain about it. Then whine and moan and complain about getting caught using forged documents and telling lies.